Monday, the 10th of February 2025, and we're getting ready for the US session. I just wanted to make a quick update and start the video before the US session actually begins. We're 25 minutes away from the start. So I did have the 15:45 15-minute candle in gold as one of my entries for today. This is 15:45 o'clock GMT plus 2, so it's 13:45 London time. So that candle, in case you're wondering. And I just wanted to say that I was very uncomfortable of getting filled short here. And obviously we're in a bit of profit here, but all I could think of was that we've been rallying for so long, and even today, not to mention the higher time frames, because if I look at the higher time frames, this looks super bullish, right? But I have gotten filled short, and I had to also use a bit higher sizing, because according to my strategy that I have researched a lot, basically I have to use higher sizing for my better entries, and this is again one of my better entries. So that is why I've basically taken this. And I think the lesson here is, for me as well, that if the strategy is telling you it's okay and it's the right thing to do, then the result doesn't happen. So I was feeling like I should probably skip if it fills short, but then I decided to just power through and just take the damn entry like I was supposed to mechanically, and I did. Now whatever happens, obviously we went below here, continued for a bit, and now are retracing, trying to go back up. We are in a clear uptrend, and obviously we're retesting the highs of Asia session right now. But whatever happens, I think I just wanted to make the point that it's important to stick to your strategy, even when you perhaps don't want to take an entry, because maybe you feel like it's not intuitive, or you see some other things that make you doubt it. But if it's according to a well-researched strategy, and if it's something you should be taking, then yes, you should take it. So I wanted to put that out there. Looking at the trades I let open after the European session, I had quite a good run. So I went long the Dow here, added to the Dow here, exited out of the first Dow entry here, and exited out of the second entry Dow here. I decided not to let it into the open because we could easily just retrace a lot. The open can be quite choppy for the Dow, so I was quite happy with catching so much of this move. So as you can see, even with small add-ons, because this was a small add-on compared to the original entry. This is the original entry, so it was like half, and we made on the add-on more than on the original entry, actually. So just by letting it run. Kind of the same for the DAX here. So my first entry was a miss, but then I bought at the re-entry after the double bottom. I added here, and I added here as well, so I added twice. And then I decided to go out of the first entry here, of the second entry here, and the third entry here. So I just managed it kind of progressively, and exited the first one because I just wanted to, be more certain that I wasn't going to get a full reversal and lose on all of the positions. So I closed the first one, and then I closed the second one close to this resistance, or obviously this swing, and then I let the other run, and I just closed it a few minutes ago around this key level here, which I thought could act as resistance. Now we went a bit above, doesn't matter. So again, this was the original entry, and then on the add-ons made quite a bit more. Nice management, I would say. At one point in the day, I started with losing the first 4 trades. All mechanical, all respected my entries, but just didn't work out. Then I just kept my cool and kept executing my planned entries. And I also kept adding to entries using the rules I've explained in the past, which are if the move moves quickly in your favor and respects 1 ATR on the 5-minute time frame. So you gain 1 ATR in the first 5 minutes, and the bar closes strongly, and you've gained that 1x ATR, then I add. So I added like that in both the Dow and the DAX, and it worked out pretty well. So just wanted to do that preview for the US session, and now I will let this run into the US session. Obviously, like I said, from a technical standpoint, I'm not enamored with this short position here, but at the same time, we have had a reversal here, so we could easily just push a bit lower before continuing back up, or even push lower even a bit more, because we have been rallying for so long. So there's always a case to be made for either direction, of course. So just because I'm reluctant here, I need to just trust my mechanical entry over time. So what happens today isn't really that relevant. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. I'm up on the day, and I'm getting ready for more entries in the US session. So let's see how this turns out. Update here. So sadly, we did get stopped out. My instinct was correct here, but the important lesson is here to just respect your plan and execute, because a lot of the times I will have the same emotions and the same gut feeling, and it will work against me just because here the market reversed and the support held and we're rallying back up. It doesn't mean that I've done a mistake to take a planned entry. Not only a planned entry, but also an entry that is one of my better ones. So with that in mind, I'm perfectly happy with my decision here, even if it's quite a big loss. 0.73 on the account, obviously. The reason why it's risking more is because this actually was one of the better entries for today. But obviously no entry is guaranteed, so just have to accept that. We will have I think one more entry in gold, yes, which will be a normal entry. Or actually it might actually be a lower entry. Yeah, it's going to be a lower entry, actually, not a normal one. So it's going to risk like just $30. But again, just sticking to a plan here and to a strategy, and I'm fully confident that in the long run it will pay dividends, and we will have a full video breakdown here where you can just see each and every video of how I built this account up. So let's wait for the market to open, 7 minutes, and I'll talk you through the entries that I'm about to take. And the market is open. So I will be looking at several entries. My biggest one in size will be off the first 15-minute bar in the NASDAQ. And then I have several other entries that are going to be either normal size or lower size, starting with the second 5-minute bar completed in the Dow. And then I'm going to be looking at a few others in the Dow, the range between the second and the fifth, perhaps. Also the second 15-minute bar. If that's too big, we will look at the third 15-minute bar in the Dow. So quite a few entries. Fifth 5-minute bar in the S&P 500 is also of interest today. Second 15-minute bar in the DAX, so quite a few entries. Also second in gold, second 15-minute. So let's see what happens. I'm going to execute my plan mechanically and we'll see where the chips fall. So the second 5-minute bar, it's gotten quite big here, over 100 points, so I'm not gonna ever take this. It's way too big for a 5-minute bar. So however, I am deciding to flip the switch here, and I've placed a long order that has been filled. I do believe that there is a good chance here we've retraced into the accumulation zone here where we broke out of and rallied. It is coinciding with the top of Asia range, so that is why I am going long here. In terms of stop, I'm just going below the area here, just risking 29. So I am respecting, I'm fully respecting the strategy of taking it a bit lower in size and just anticipating a possible move back up. Not gonna go all the way, so it's quite a reasonable target as well. And now I'm just gonna focus on the other entries. This also excludes the second 0.5 bar entry. It's just not good enough. With such a big second bar, the range is just going to be too big, and that discounts both entries. So I will wait for the completion of the first 15-minute bar in the Nasdaq. It is now just a 40-point bar, which works out very well for us. It would allow us to go a bit higher here in sizing. But let's see. I'll pause you as I monitor price action, and we'll get back to you when we're close to an entry. So we are actually rating the low of both sessions here. We just bottomed at the low of London and Asia session here and are pulling back. It's a natural spot where if we reach, buyers are stepping in, of course. This is why my stop is comfortably below both of these areas. Now it can still easily get sniped out, and of course we can just keep on going lower as well. I just had to cancel my mechanical entry off the second 5-minute bar because when it goes above 100 points, then it just becomes invalid, because I would have to place the stop at the complete other end, and then it's just not generally a profitable trade, and you have to, I mean, you're never going to get one-to-one R&R there, and you take a lower size and you target what? You target just previous day low. It's just not a plus EV trade in my opinion, ever. Over the long run, of course, you can get lucky once or twice. So we're going to complete the first 15-minute bar here, and the Nasdaq, just going to adjust because the bar has been getting a bit bigger here. What bothers me is that the price is right at the top of the bar, so it's gonna complete really strongly here. This in itself is a long trigger, so I just have to be very quick here. Just a 5 to 6 point cushion. I'm just glad I was able to apply it quickly. Okay, we have both orders. And now we've begun forming the second 15-minute bars. And this is where I'll be interested in the gold second 15-minute bar and the DAX one. But also the Dow. These will be normal entries for the Dow and the DAX, and a lower entry for gold. So let's see what happens. Order is in place. Here we're trying to go back up. Quite a strong rejection of what was a slow grind upwards throughout the morning. So I am quite aware of that as well. It might be difficult to go all the way back up here. I might have to adjust the TP, but let's first get into profit and we'll talk then about potential TPs. It does feel like I got in a bit early, but I think my logic was sound looking at Asia high here and the place where we broke out in the morning. We did push lower and double bottomed and rated both session lows. So normally a close back into London range here is a strong signal that there's strength in this move. Oh, and we did get filled long in the Nasdaq here, so once again risking a bit more, but it's one of the better entries of the day. If we get unlucky and we lose on the best entries of the day, that sucks, but that happens sometimes. It happened in the morning as well with, let's see, with the first gold entry, and then it happened with the 1545 gold entry, which was this one. Let's hope we don't go for the hat trick here. But it can happen, and if it happens, then so be it. I've completely followed my research, my plan, and my rules. So if I lose on that, that's perfectly fine. Let's just quickly look at a target for the Nasdaq here. 80 points, 45 points, 120 points, 60 points, 100 points, 60 points, 90 points, 80 points. So I think of this range, like 90 would be an average target. So just to close this gap here, basically, could target 85 here, 84, and just target $100 while risking 80, 82. I think that's fine. Let's see, hoping that London highs act as support, obviously. And 11 minutes left until we complete the second 15-minute bar, so I'll just pause you until then, unless we get stopped out or some major shift happens. We're a minute and a half away from completing the second 15-minute bars. For the Dow, if we break above the second 15-minute bar, that's going to be an add-on, because the second 15-minute bar is a planned entry for today. Obviously, I'm not going to be taking the short because I'm in a position. And my stop is here. You could argue that I could flip the switch, but flipping the switch would be here and my stop is lower, so I will just take the long trigger, if that fills first, of course. And I'll also take the second 15-minute bar and the DAX, wherever it goes. about a 30-point bar. I'm supposed to go a normal sized trade on this. So let's see. Filled long in the DAX here. Sort of a normal trade. I will quickly add my positions to gold. It's a lower size position for this particular entry. So let's see, maybe the lower percentage entries work today in gold, because the higher percentage have both failed spectacularly, I could add. Okay. And this is an add-on now here. See, sometimes you have to be super quick. Add-on with stop right below. So risking just 50. And I'll target a 1-to-1 here. So that's a 1-to-1, just a bit below the other entry. I'll bring the other entry a bit down as well. So they're both in the same spot. Okay, that's fine. And Nasdaq is back in profit. The first 15 minutes after the entry were not looking quite positive, but this is why we have stops at a cushion below the original bar's low. So let's see. In the DAX, we can target 50, 60, 35, 90, 45, 55, 100. So I think an even 50 is appropriate here. Again, I'm just going to go, in the middle of that range of recent targets, and especially since we're close to previous day high here, I do expect this to pose perhaps a bit of resistance. So I will just target that. We'll see what happens. We've been rallying in the DAX quite a bit as well, so I'm not too scared to go long here, or to target above resistance here, but I'm not going to go too high up. I think that's fine on this entry. We almost got filled short in gold again, but once again, whichever direction we get filled is covered by the strategy. So I need to follow it and be okay with it and not be afraid to take it. So with that being said, I'll pause you, and now we can just let things unfold. And I just realized that I completely forgot about one of the entries, so that's really bad of me. It was the 5th 5-minute bar of SPX. So I should have been long here. Yeah, see, now that is very bad of me. That is quite unprofessional. But I was monitoring everything and thinking about the positions, and also trying to record that I completely forgot about this entry. I mentioned it at the start of the session, that I was going to take the break of the 5th 5-minute bar in the SPX, in the S&P 500. And I've missed this entry, so not much we can do about that now. It can happen sometimes when you have so many entries, of course, but I still need to be careful and not do that, because it's a profitable entry, and let's say this one would have gone to TP. So 53. I think TP would be somewhere above this range. But still, say that this entry works now and some of the others don't. That's not very pleasant, of course, when you miss out on like that. But that's my fault. So that being said, I'll just pause you here as I watch price action, and I'll bring you back when we have anything of interest. I just realized that I wasn't showing you the live PNL, and I know a lot of people want to view that. So the S&P just went above London range and is retracing a bit. Obviously the top of London range is the first point of interest here. And it could be the first target. Let me just check out of curiosity what I would have targeted for this entry. According to my spreadsheet. 11 points, 20 points, 15 points, 32, 29, 35, 15, 10. So I think around 20 would be quite appropriate. Quite warranted. So from 60.53 it would be 60.54.4, something like that would be the entry. So from here 60.54, 20 points, so 74. I would have targeted, yeah, so we would be quite a bit off my target here, so it would be just on a higher time frame here. It would be right at the top of these wicks. But yeah, we missed out on that, and that's my fault. So hopefully we can just carry on in the Nasdaq here. That would be nice. And we've gotten filled long in gold, so I'm more comfortable with the long fill, of course. I've said that. Let me just make this a bit larger. So the stop would be here. I'm risking 35 on this lower entry. Like I said, this was going to be a lower entry. And target for gold here. US second 15-minute bar, 7 points, 7 points, 6.5, 7, 10, 10, 5. So I think 7 is the most likely. So 7 it is. So let's say risking 35 to make 41. That's fine. Bit of a retrace here in the Dow. I wonder here if I should perhaps do something with the stops, but at the same time, I think that's fine. I'm not risking that much individually. Or no, I'm risking just 30 on one, but full 50 on the other. But I think for the strategy to play out, I have to let the stops in place for this one, so just hoping it works out. And of course, hoping that gold doesn't screw me the third time today, which is entirely a possibility, of course, because we are at the London highs here, where sellers stepped in. So I am again fully aware that I am longing into an area of resistance, just like I was shorting into an area of support earlier, but this is what the strategy tells me to do. So I have to follow it. And you've seen it work well a lot of the times, and sometimes it doesn't, so you just have to be balanced. I don't particularly like this reaction on the DAX here, because raiding the top of London range and then closing back inside is generally a short trigger. So I will be very proactive with this one. I'm keeping a close eye on it, and if I see real weakness here, like a convincing bearish close to this 15-minute bar here, I might just close it. But let's see. Still quite a bit off in the Nasdaq from the target. So yeah, just have to be patient. Sadly, the Dow is attempting a reversal here. I think if we are to go higher, obviously we shouldn't really be revisiting the absolute lows. So let's see, I'm gonna give everything the chance to play out. and not do much to intervene. So I will pause you and bring you back. Okay, I'm gonna close the DAX here. Did the mechanical entry. It just formed a reversal pattern that I trust quite a bit. But I'm not gonna take the short just because I don't like switching immediately from long to short or from short to long. I do think there's a bit of an emotional element involved, and while I do have enough experience and obviously I'm making this call quite objectively, I'm also thinking about how I would feel if, say, I do take this short trigger after closing my long trigger early, and then it reverses again and goes in my favor. Now, if that happens, I'm not really bothered. I'm making a conscious decision here to get out early because I believe this is a reversal setup that has historically been quite strong for me in the DAX. But looking at the overall market outlook, again, I'm not that enamored with being short right now. So I'm fine with just stepping away here from the DAX trade, letting everything else run. My next entry will just be actually, I do think that I've made all my entries for today. Yeah, it would be the break of the third 15-minute bar, actually, of the Dow on a normal size, but as it stands, it would just be the long here if we break above here. So it would be just there on an add-on. I'll place it because again, it's a different order. It's a different entry. So actually I will just place that there. And if we get filled, the stop will obviously be for this entry below the trigger candle. So yeah, I was getting a bit confused. I did have a few more entries for today, just like on Friday. Sometimes I'll have more entries, sometimes I'll have less. I'm monitoring the same things every day, but sometimes you have more entries that work well, so you're supposed to take all of them. So with that said, I'll pause you again and hopefully bring you back to some good news, because it's been a tough session. Another tough start to the session, like in the morning, but let's hope we can turn it around again, just with patience and good execution. I'm back here and I'm considering just closing the Nasdaq here because I don't like the action in the Dow, and I think we're quite close to the target, but I mean, holding out for $20 extra perhaps is not the best idea here, I would say. Maybe I'm a bit more cautious because of the price action I'm seeing in both gold and the Dow, which generally shouldn't be the case, but I think just taking a bit over 1-to-1 or 1-to-1 exactly, I think this was actually, I think that's fine, and gonna let everything else run. So now, in case everything just reverses, at least I took some profit. And yeah, I don't have any other entries for today, so if we get filled in this position in the Dow, I will manage it, but other than that, I will let things play out. I think we're probably going to hit what would have been our targets in both the Nasdaq and SPX, and it's totally on me that I've missed this entry, which was a really good one. And not only was it a good one, it was also an entry that should have been taken in higher sizing. So the 2 entries that I've taken in higher sizing in gold didn't work out. Then I did have one in gold that worked out in the morning. So it was this one. This one didn't work out, but this one worked out. And then this one didn't. And then I forgot about this one. And this one in the NASDAQ did. So generally good execution. I'm just a bit bothered that I forgot about this entry. And I'm also still thinking just about the overall outlook of the day. I think this was pretty unlucky here to get stopped out. I would have held this just as I did with the Dow trade and the DAX trade closed the US session. So I would have gotten most of the moves here as well. The day would have looked quite a bit differently, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So can't really let it bother us too much. And I'll let these play out. There's a good chance we just get stopped out here because there seems to be quite strong resistance now in this area. So we are respecting this gap here. But yeah, I'll let things play out, of course, and we'll bring you back when we have a resolution. I'm just going to close one of the Dow positions there for break even because it just hasn't worked out how you would have wanted it. So I think just taking one of them off here and lowering exposure is fine. So now I'm just risking, what was it, 29 to make 48. So I'll let that play out together with the gold trade, and these will be the last trades of the day, obviously. It's been quite a challenging day for the mechanical entries, but as you can see, we're still in profit, like $100 profit, and we're gonna finish in a little bit of profit regardless of what happens with these trades. So I think that's an important lesson here. Started the day quite difficultly, and then we turned it around with just patience, good execution, adding to our winners where appropriate. So I'm just gonna hold out for these trades, hope for the best, and I will, of course, bring you back to show you when we have either take profit, a stop, or if I decide to just close early, which might be the case. So let's see. So after all is said and done, we will end the day in a little bit of profit. Sadly, we did get stopped out on both entries. So it was a good decision to just close the second Dow entry. I had to break even, saved some money there. Yeah, not the greatest of US sessions, but then again, I think I made, I would say, the most of it, but not quite the most of it, because I missed this entry that I think I would have exited near the highs here, so I would have caught most of this move, but you know, that's just my mistake. And then here with the gold just mechanically getting stopped out of both trades, that's gonna happen sometimes. Can't really do much about that. Yeah, I don't think I could have done something better today except for taking this entry and maybe just not moving the original entry in the UK 100 trade that high. Other than that, you could argue that I could have possibly exited the first entry in the Dow earlier and treated it as a scalp, but we were quite close to take profit, and we just had a hard reversal, so there was really no time to do a proper exit, manual exit that is, and I generally hate to do rushed manual exits anyway. So we grew our accounts today, even though I might be a bit disappointed with how the day unfolded. The reality is that it wasn't a bad day. We caught some good moves. Perhaps got a bit unlucky with some trades. Perhaps the fact that the higher sized trades didn't work out, that really pulled us back a bit as well. But overall, we grew the account, so it's not much more we can ask for there. And gonna come back tomorrow and start again with a new list of entries and fresh to grow the account even further. I think the changes to the strategy that I've made, or actually the enhancements, because I haven't really changed the strategy, but I have enhanced the way I add to positions, to winning positions, and the way I size some of the entries. I think it's been a clear asset to my strategy and my overall balance. Obviously still a very short or a very small sample size on that, but I will keep at it, and hopefully you will continue to see the power of these strategies. So please like and subscribe the video. Always remember that this is just me journaling my ideas and my trading, and it's not financial advice. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you and goodbye.